Welcome back to Seasons, a devotional series based on my book by the same title. But I'm not going to be referencing the book today. Today I want to talk about two heroes of my faith, Floyd and Sally McClung. They have been serving the Lord in missions since the late 1960s, and they served for many years with Youth with a Mission. God called them out of Youth with a Mission to begin their own ministry. The McClungs now live in South Africa, even though they're from the United States originally. They were doing pretty good overall until Sally was diagnosed with cancer. Although people around the world were praying and believing and hoping for an instantaneous healing, that didn't happen, and Sally underwent grueling treatments, but the end result was she was in remission, and the world rejoiced. But that celebration didn't last overly long. You see, Floyd wasn't feeling very good for a few days. His wife was concerned and sent him to the ER at her insistence. But something happened during surgery that the doctors cannot pinpoint as to what exactly happened. But when Floyd was returned to his hospital room, he wasn't the same man. He remained in a semi-comatose state for quite a few months and gradually began to wake up to the point that he is now able to acknowledge other people. He laughs, he smiles, and he cries, but he cannot speak. And he remains bedridden. Sally has remained at Floyd's side as much as she has been able to do, given her other responsibilities. And right now, one of her main responsibilities is her health. Unfortunately, her cancer returned several months ago, and since then she's undergone more treatment and invasive surgery, and she's still recovering from that invasive surgery. There's a Facebook page called Prayer for Floyd and Sally McClung, and I don't believe that Sally posts directly on the page, but somebody that they entrust with the responsibility does on her behalf. I want to read Sally's latest update from April the 11th, 2019. Dear praying friends, Floyd's condition has gone up and down a bit, but some days he's been really miserable with that chest congestion. Please pray for it to improve. The last few weeks I've had some very precious visits with him, some of my best over this long, unexpected journey. It's been a sweet treasure to my heart, and I'm hoping for more to come. A few nights ago, I was struck with a horrible case of food poisoning. I was horribly sick for hours. I was alone, hoping that I wouldn't pass out from the trauma that was attacking me, and calling out to the Lord to help me. In the midst of all this, I was reminded of the principle I've written about, worshiping God in everything that comes our way. Lying on my bed in between bouts of being sick, I wondered if I could even do that. I was consumed with crying out for God to help me. I didn't feel like offering up praises, but I began to interrupt my pleas for God to help me by thanking Him that He was with me, that I wasn't alone, that He was right beside me, that He was holding my right hand, that He was watching over me. I thanked Him for His faithfulness. I thanked Him for sustaining me through so many things in the last few years. I thanked Him that His grace is sufficient for every need, even horrible food poisoning. The sickness didn't end right there. I was still sick for a few more hours, but something changed. It's hard to describe, but I felt I had overcome something. I began to experience the reality of what I was praying for. God was right there with me. He was helping me and carrying me through something very difficult. She goes on to say, praise to Him gets us through the trials of life. He is so worthy to receive our praises in every situation of life. And then Sally shares some Bible verses that I'd like to share with you. I would suggest you get a piece of paper and pen or type these out on your smartphone and then personalize these Bible verses. Speak these verses and these truths out loud. You might have to do it several times in one day, but Continue to do that until those truths bypass your head and land in your heart. And you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, even though your circumstances have not yet changed, that God is with you and he will get you through to the other side. So here's an example of how to personalize a scripture. We'll begin with Isaiah 41:13. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. Personalize it. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand, Catherine, and says to you, Catherine, don't fear, I will help you. So let's go on with some more verses. Deuteronomy 31, verse 6. The Lord your God will always be at your side, and he will never abandon you. The Lord, Catherine's God, will always be at her side, and he will never abandon her. And I think you get the drift now. Philippians 4, verse 6 and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. Malachi 4, verse 2. But for you who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness will rise with healing in his wings. Isaiah 25, verse 1. I honor and praise you because you have done amazing things. You have always done what you said you would do. Psalm 63, verse 3 to 4, and then 7 to 8. Because your love is better than life, I will praise you. I will praise you as long as I live. I will lift up my hand in prayer to your name. Because you are my helper, I sing for joy in the shadow of your wings. I cling to you. Your strong right hand holds me securely. Here's a few other verses to meditate on. Matthew 4, verse 10, Psalm 100, the whole thing, Psalm 71, verse 8. And Sally ends with this. My body is still recovering from the experience, but my heart is rejoicing in this fresh lesson I learned about the power of worship. It's a powerful and beautiful tool that God has given us. Praising him helps us to live in victory in all of life's circumstances. I can't add anything more to Sally's words except this. Be of good faith, dear hearts. Call out to the Lord and expect his redeeming power to spring forth and strengthen you in those really tough seasons of life.